Hello and welcome. My name is Danielle, and I'm an ambassador with Rada Publishing House. Today, I'd like to welcome a special guest with us, Blossom Roundtree. She's a client of Maya's and a contributing writer in the upcoming book, Infinite Cosmic Records Sacred Doorways to Healing and Remembering, a book of healing by Maya Versanilla, aka Maya the Shaman. I'd like to congratulate you, Blossom, as you've been chosen to share your testimony and your story of what you experienced during your session with Maya. And just so everybody has an idea of what this is, Maya is the original creatrix of Infinite Cosmic Records, which is a very powerful healing modality that stems out of Lumerian code healing. It is also Maya's original healing modality, and that's what makes this so special. Maya's book, Infinite Cosmic Records Stories of Healing and Remembering, is produced and published by Rada Publishing House. So before we get started, everybody, I'd like to just share with you quickly about Infinite Cosmic Records and just give a few examples of what you might experience. Infinite Cosmic Records is so much more than than a normal standardized healing modality. Essentially, what you'll experience is many timelines. So, if you've ever heard of past life regression, Akashic records, or even Dolores Cannon's work, you might be familiar with how the process of this particular modality could work. Some people say that it's similar to shadow work or inner child healing, and even as deep as working on your ancestral lineage. So that's very powerful. According to Maya, it really just all depends upon the client's intention. And that's what's going to be brought forward in this session because the intention brings forth the door you need at this time. It could be an out of this world experience. You could travel to a planet, or perhaps you're going into a different era. It really is all dependent upon what your subconscious mind is willing to show you at this time. You also might even connect with your, I would say, spirit guides and just kind of guide you through the journey. And then, lastly, if you're familiar with ayahuasca or any spiritual journeys of that nature, this is kind of similar, but in a more calmer way, I guess you could say, because you do purge and release, and you're clearing a lot. So for me personally, I did get to experience a session. It was pretty phenomenal. I definitely traveled to a different era, which was very unique. And I would say for me, for the most part, it was very visual. But with that being said, I would like to welcome you, Blossom, and I'm so grateful to have you here again with us.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. So, before we get started with your doorways, could you share with us when you dropped into the session with Maya, what was your intention, and how did you feel going into the session?
Well, my intention was, and actually, it started the night before or the day before. I actually heard a knock, knock in my sleep. I heard a woman's voice saying knock, knock, and it woke me up from a dead sleep. And of course, and I guess that apparently is like a trademark call of hers that she hears from time to time from her grandfather, I think it was, if I remember correctly. But anyhow, when I went into this session, my intention was actually to heal my timeline from Lemuria. And so that was where I went through my first door. And it was a very amazing experience, and definitely helped give me clarity, not just on that timeline, but just on everything, really. So I don't know how much detail that you would like me to go into about it, but
So, your intention going in was to simply heal an aspect of your soul from the Lemurian times, which is actually such a perfect person to work with because
right.
she works with her lineage, and that is her lineage. And it's also been, like you said, that it was her grandfather. He actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, helped her to feel so, like, kind of, he guides her, I believe. So that's
So,
beautiful. I'm glad that if it was, or maybe it was your higher self, connecting and saying, hey. we're gonna meet with her. It's
Yes,
time.
we're getting
That's
ready.
that's amazing, actually. I love that. And see, guys, this is why intention is so important. You have to know in your heart going in. You might receive some special messages before going into a session like this. That's really cool. Could you share with us a little bit about your doorways and, well, how many did you go through and what did they look like? And if you could just share with us a little bit about them.
I went through 3 doorways. Do you want me to tell you a little bit about each one?
Yeah, just a tiny bit. And then if you could share what they look like, I'm kind of curious what your doors look like.
Okay. So the first door was actually red. It looked like a normal door, except the handle, when I looked down at the handle, it was golden and like shaped like an animal claw or maybe like a lion claw or something. It was really pretty. And then when I went through the doorway, I was greeted by a spirit guide, which was actually a unicorn. um,
Oh,
and I've met with my unicorn guide before, but it was just really amazing. And I immediately knew that I was in Lemuria, and the trees were ginormous, like larger than any tree in Northern California. You know, larger than the I can't even think the red
redwood.
yes, thank you. So it was just a beautiful sight, and so she just kind of helped guide me. And I've always had a little bit like I'm more of a clear sentient, like
Mm.
of a clear being able to feel and sense, and even more of maybe a clear cognizant of just knowing things. But the clairvoyance, the seeing, was is not always been my greatest gift, I guess you could say, or isn't fully developed yet. But I was able to experience a lot of visuals with this whole thing, which was just amazing and astounding. And she just kind of helped guide you and asked you questions, and then it would just, you know, appeared. And I got real clarity, which I don't know how much detail I'd really want to go into on the Lemuria, but it's in the chapter and it's really profound, or at least it was for me, for healing on that. And then so my next doorway was actually more of like a portal. It started out like like a Vesica Pisces, and but then it was just only the center portion, which I think is called the fish portion. And so I went through there, and I believe it was magenta colored, and it was just like a stepping through. You know, there was no door. And then I was just in. It was basically just like dark space, dark matter. And she asked me, you know, where I was at, if it was a place, or it was more of like a dimension. And it was like a healing chamber. And I had someone there with me to kind of guide me and tell me, you know, that I could come here at any time to receive healing. And all of my chakras like felt super expanded, and I was just like floating, and it was the most peaceful, um, just an amazing light experience, which I need to, because I can now go there anytime I need to, and I need to go there more frequently for my own healing through this ascension process. I was told that it will help me to alleviate some of the ascension symptoms, that I can go there and anytime necessary. So then for the third doorway, it was also a portal, and not a doorway, but this one was more of like a liquid or water. When I went through it, it was in water, maybe like crystalline water. It wasn't anything I'd ever experienced before, and but it was definitely liquid, and I immediately could breathe, and I didn't have to think about it. And then I went down into like a cave, I guess,
Mhm.
um, and then I was just shown a lot of light codes and like transmissions of my next path in my mission. So it was very exciting.
That's really neat. It's almost like I get this feeling that it was very like supportive for
It
you.
was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I bet that felt really comforting.
It
Um,
it did.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your experience working with Maya? What's it like?
It was really profound. I mean, like I said, I was able to get visuals and see a lot more than I typically can in a lot of like guiding meditations or guided healing sessions like that. I was able to really gain a lot of information from each doorway that was very profound and very healing. And I know that it's just continuing to keep working with me. I don't even remember exactly what month that I did this, but it's, still kind of, I believe, still integrating actually. So
I believe that, especially if you can go back. Yeah. It almost reminds me tiny bit of like a med bed or something, you know?
it is like my own personal little med bed. It's like your own personal little
Yeah,
little healing chamber.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
hmm What's your experience working with Maya directly as far as her facilitating this session? Because I truly feel, being that it is her original modality, she's really good at guiding and walking you through. Because sometimes when you're like in my experience, I had there's a little bit of an era where I was struggling to move because that it had a lot to do with my intention, of course, but I was struggling to move forward. And what I was feeling was really heavy.
Mhm.
And she did really excellent at helping to guide forward. So for you, what was your like experience with Maya in that sense of your session?
Well, I think it was more like the Lemuria timeline. I I at one point I was in the middle of the forest and then everything just went dark. And she was asking me specifically what I saw, what I was supposed to learn, to help me to really kind of dig deep to figure it out. Um, Honestly, I didn't quite come to the complete awareness until I went afterwards to type up my experience. When
Hmm
I first wrote it, it actually completely deleted. Like I don't even know what happened, but it completely um just got erased like in the middle of me typing it. So I had to type it all up again. But I was so grateful that she told me to do that right away. And I will now do that with any kind of session that I participate in because I was able to gain so much clarity afterwards that I was not, it was like it was downloading while I was writing it, even to a deeper level
hmm
um, than than what I was able to get in the moment. Because it was, I'm sure being downloaded at the time, but I couldn't quite grasp it yet totally.
Yeah.
But it was it was just really profound what came through, and very very healing. And it was mostly about the original separation from source, which I mean, being able to go to that moment and to heal that wounding and that and have a better, it actually, I've been working a lot on victimization and healing from feeling like a victim for quite some time now, which is, you give all of your power away when you feel like a victim. So that helped, even in the, I gained greater awareness in my own choice in that process that took my power back completely and out of victimhood at all. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's great to integrate, absolutely. And you're right. It sometimes it does come because it's a lot to process, and it's like
it
it's
is.
very deep. It's like an onion. You're peeling a layer here and there, and it's like each time you peel, there's so much behind that layer.
Yes,
Yeah, she does a great job at making sure
she
that
does.
you're because it's like you're experiencing it, but you sometimes it's like you can sometimes get, I don't want to say stuck, but it's like how do I process this and move forward? So when it's like she asks all the right questions to like move
She
you forward,
does.
which is amazing.
The
um
container that she
yeah.
creates, and even just clearing all your chakras and everything, and
Mhm.
before you even enter it, I think is also super helpful. And
Yeah. So, how was your experience when you were writing the chapter with Rada Publishing House? How supported and how was your experience during that process?
I love Rada Publishing House. I feel super supported. Everyone is just so wonderful, including you, Danielle.
Thank you.
And
You as
I
well.
just it just helps you to feel loved and nurtured throughout the whole process, and helps me to gain more confidence actually as well, because I tend to lack that sometimes. So it was a beautiful experience all the way around.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you, Blossom. And then, lastly, would you recommend Infinite Cosmic Records to anyone who's looking to receive this type of healing?
Absolutely. I've never done Akashic. Well, no, I take that back. I have now actually. Um, I have done an Akashic healing since my session with her, but I would definitely recommend it to anyone because I honestly have not ever experienced anything like it since then or before. It was phenomenal.
It's very different. And I think what's fascinating to me is when you come to a healing session like this, it's literally the infinite cosmic records. So you can come back for more. You don't have to just end right there. Obviously, you can come for healing or curiosity because there's a lot of doors and it's for
Yes,
so many intentions you can have. So,
most
yeah,
definitely. There's so many aspects of ourselves that need healing
I
and
know.
awareness brought to.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Blossom. It's been a pleasure connecting with you today, and I wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you, Danielle. It was a pleasure to be here.